Good afternoon. Welcome back to Dan's Trades. As always, never advice, only entertainment and our educational purposes only. Do your research. So I just attempted to go live. Apparently I have to test this again some other time because it didn't let me. It said going live and I just sat there spinning in circles. But I did it to myself one more time in the lunch session because I saw an interesting setup and I took it, and it was almost identical to the playout from this morning, interestingly enough. So I'm sensing a pattern, but it's okay. It's working. I was looking at, so it is, we are starting 13:30. So we are starting the end of lunch macro, which will generate the PM session range. So we see that right now. $13.30 started right here, so there's the current high and low. We'll watch that build out. I'll cover a lunch trade that I took. Yeah, I did take one more trade, a couple trades actually. Interestingly enough, if you watch the previous video that I published this morning, and I don't think anybody has yet, which is perfectly fine, we got out around here. I closed up that recording. We did take that one low that I was looking at, didn't come down to the other one, perfectly fine. But look what it did do. The New York lunch macro ran, and we came up and took out that pre-market session high that we were looking at. It was actually a beautiful buy program that ran and took it out right in the lunch session. So again, today being FOMC, or the day before it I should say, looking like a seek and destroy. Came back, retraced. Was looking like it could have been a nice pushback down, but since it's today, it wants to consolidate, so it ran back up and took out this liquidity. Took out the pre-market high. There it is. Thank you very much, lunch. And then lunch retraced. So what does ICT always say? What's lunch gonna do? Take out the winners from the morning. Morning session was probably not a lot of winners with the seek and destroy profile in place, taking out lows and highs. But anybody that was short from the pre-market was in profit still and thinking they were going to hold for lower prices for maybe previous day's low, got smoked right there. So they cleared the board with them as well. And then I was looking at another setup that popped in my head. I said, this is interesting. We made this low. This was a pretty aggressive rundown, much quicker than the long slow staircase up. The elevator down is typically faster. That was nice displacement. And I said, there could be a nice trade to take out these relative equal lows here on the 1 minute chart. We got the low here at 888, 888.25. So this one didn't take out that one, so that's our low. So I had a fib on from the previous 15 minutes here. And I drew the high here and the low here. And we retraced 50% almost right away. I liked that. I was like, and then we took a move down lower. I said, okay, OTE was up here. So we'll jump over to that chart. So there's the 15-second chart. There's where we left. There's this morning's trade. So see if you see a pattern here in Dan's trading. And I'm basically talking to myself. So there's where my shorts are from this morning. If you didn't see it, there it is. And there's the run up. And then there's the quick displacement down. That was that 1045 candle we talked about. And then the run up. There's the slow run up. And it got a little bit quicker. 12:30 time frame, and then we had a nice run back down. So I watched this displacement happen. I said, "Ooh, that's interesting. I like that." And then we made, here's those relative equal lows. That caught my attention. Said I like the potential for a run back down there. So there's looking at that 15 minutes right there. So that's matching that. I can throw the fib on there, same one. So there's where we came up to the retracement to 50%. My idea was enter in fair value here, OTE premium. 75% upper quadrant's my stop loss. I don't want to see it breach that because then it's probably going to go to the high or the starting point. So I entered 3 short here after we had displacement inverting this BISI. So I had conversion or a confirmation of inverting that, entered short there inside of fair value. Came back up, spiked up into consequent encroachment, added on this up candle. So this wasn't the best entry, but in case it was going to run down immediately, I wanted to be part of it. So then we came back up, added on the position, almost perfectly on consequent encroachment, made it move down, kept playing right around my entry, took one more position here, trying to just better the position, getting as close to the middle as I could. And then we spiked up one more time, and I said, okay, last round, let's take it. So I took one last one here. So each one was added on. 911, 920, 924, 926. 925 was the midpoint. This was a pretty fast move down, made this wick. And then when we moved back down, that gave me some confidence to hold, but my patience was running quickly. So we took below this one and it didn't continue. And I was in profits. And I said, Dan, why are you trading lunch? My patience ran out one more time and I just closed them all up right there, a little bit deeper. Since I was 12 contracts in, I said, I don't want to reverse my profits for the day. So we're at just under 250 on the day. And I said, that's enough is enough. And sure enough, we consolidated a little bit more. So I was early as this was in the lunch session. But lo and behold, this morning I needed 5 more minutes of patience. In the lunch session, I needed, was that 10? Yeah, about 15 more minutes of patience. But I'm still happy with that. Good experience. I closed it early in profits. This first one was actually the one there was a couple losing contracts because that was 911 and we closed at 916, but everything else was in profits. So my scaling into the position, trying to get the best prices possible, right around 50%, worked in my favor. So I took it off right there. I said, all right, get out of lunch. And that was that. And it came back down. I said, well, at least I read the price right. We did deliver to those relative equal lows. I'm happy about that. Another good experience under the belt, continuing my win streak. And then I attempted to go live, and it doesn't want to. So I'm going to have to do some more testing on that. So there's the mock-up. There's the 1 minute chart. There's where it took my profits. Came down and actually hit the AM opening range low. Body's never closed before or below. And New York lunch macro lining up. So entered in here, exited on this drop down, and then it delivered. So same kind of story. So let's, out of curiosity, let's see what we got cooking on this session here. Since I can't go live, I'll record it. We have an inverted BISI, hence it's painted orange. We have a SIBI underneath it. Price is respecting it. Some nice liquidity building up here. Let's turn on my fractals. So there's the hourly fractal. High, low, high, low. So we can see a retracement for another run down here. We got some nice liquidity building up. If we're going to continue lower or if we're just going to consolidate further. Let's find out. Dun, 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 dun. Let's go full screen. It is now 12:40, 5 minutes before the next macro. Definitely have some equal highs up here. But most recent price delivery is sell side on both the 15-minute and the 1 hour. Let's see if it delivers lower with the next macro. Where's our previous macros? So here's our morning macros here, or noon macro I should say. 1 o'clock macros are here. So we got some low resistance in that macro. Lunch highs up there. PM session. Let's go to the 5 minute. See if we get a consolidation train for the close, or let's just see where the opening range. 20 minutes left in it. Just under. I wonder why my live didn't work. Maybe I'll get back to actual some stream software and just connect it with the keys. I was just trying to use YouTube itself. It said it was going live, but it just sat there and spun the whole time. So I'm not exactly sure why it didn't. More testing to do. I've never done a live stream, so it's new to me. I've done live streams via a software program. Maybe I'll look into that again. Maybe it was better for me to use it that way. That might be a better idea. I just don't feel like buying stuff right now. I was trying to use just the YouTube platform itself and not any streaming software, because I'm not trying to make a whole production out of it. All right. 1 hour lows, or 1 hour opening. Slowly ticking up. So it pays to have patience. That's the moral of the story. But I do like how I'm reading price, so I can't argue with that. And we'll stay on the 1 minute chart so we can see that indicator working actually. It draws in the 1 minute, not the 5 minute. I just wanted to see a higher time frame real quick. Oh, I don't want that. I want the fib tool. I can just use this one. Let me move it. So there's one that my trade was based on. Let's see the most recent. Fractal high. Very close. These are, yeah, there's engineered liquidity on both sides right now. Let's take away everything, go to a naked chart, you can see it. This drop below, taking this one out, that was my target. That worked out nicely. Since it did that, I'm a little bit more tend to see it's going to make a run up to here if it needs this liquidity. That's low resistance, because this over here is high resistance. Since it took that out and ran, made a balanced price range, order block, repulsion block. I think price should come up here. I shouldn't say think, I don't want to think. But that's against the fractals, so that's how they trick you. So you start to put on the sessions and the data. Here's the current 60-minute high and the current 60-minute low from the previous hour. So that's the 1 o'clock candle there, seen from a 1 minute chart. Or no, we're drawing that one, sorry. Because we're in previous is over here. Sorry. Just try doing this if you think it's easy. A lot of nuances. And people think that ICT does this both ways. That's literally ridiculous. I don't understand why people can't just believe what they see, and I guess that's the story of the world. This is why I'm not even going to consider any more trades. Even though I shouldn't have taken that lunch trade, but it played out nicely. This looks nice, but the delivery's here, so it's not in confluence with each other, so previous hourly equilibrium, that's a nice, almost touched it, not quite. All right, 3 minutes, 2.5 minutes to a macro. That'll be the closing of the PM dealing range establishment. Let's add that back in just so you can see it. You know, it does add in a lot of things. So interestingly enough, that was also first displacement retraced back up to. I love a price move back to retracement after it takes liquidity, which is exactly what I did this morning too. And right through it. Time distortion day. The daily candle is showing bullish. The session, yeah, it's all, there's nothing's in alignment looking at higher time frames. Great data, walk away. I might just end this at the top of the hour just because it's not going to be worth watching, in my humble opinion. I always wondered, people see IMHO, is it in my humble opinion or in my honest opinion? Should take a poll on that. All right, next 15 minutes here now. So that's why I see those fractals. We have an inversion here. We traded above. This BISI is supporting it. Wouldn't be surprised if price came up and took out this macro high during the next macro. There's this macro low, which is in line with that one. We've already swept that. That was my trade idea. That's the one I took. So it's interesting when you watch the 1 minute chart compared to the 15-second chart. This is where they try to get you. I'm just going to leave that green button right there. All right, here comes the macro. Should run to liquidity. If it's bullish, this down close candle will support price. Let's see where it goes. No thinking. Here's the previous macro. It's right at it right now. It's a nice reaction off of this close, particularly this low. Change state of delivery. ES is moving up, YM's moving up. Would not surprise me if we come up with this liquidity. I'm not taking a trade on it though. That's what price is telling me though. Current 15-minute delivering higher. Saw that tick over. There's midnight. Yep, we're gonna come up and sweep it. Watch that. You ready? Macro high. Take a partial right here. If I were in one. I'm not in the trade. See? It's just running. A lot of PD arrays right here. That's why it's consolidating. Liquidity sitting up here for anybody that was chasing these shorts. They put their stops up here, looking to get smoked. Let's see if this hourly moves before the top of the hour inside this macro. That'd be a 1 hour reversal. Oh, secrets. You ready? Are we going to see it? Sure looks like it. What are we at? 22,926 and a quarter. You ready? Watch this big blue triangle move right here. Boom. Thank you. And now we're going to take this high. Since it took that one, it might come back down and rebalance this, but we'll see. Let's just watch. Think that wasn't a propulsion block? Look at the reaction to it. Thank you, ICT. Appreciate you, Michael. And thank you, Lord, above all, for that ability. $22,933. Smoked. There's the macro high. That's a beautiful macro trade right there. I love reading price even when I'm not in it. Now let's come back down and rebalance inside this, tap inside this blue area. Gotta come back and rebalance and punish people that are chasing that up. Notice how the tool adds in the volume imbalance. That's very hard for your naked eye to see. But David has done an exceptional job at coding it because there's a volume imbalance between this close and this open, so the blue square's in there. Wouldn't surprise me to see this candle come down, tap right here, and then continue. We'll see. That was a plenty good enough scalp right there. Coming off that propulsion block. Coming off this order block. Let's see what happens in this minute. There's the next, so they're stacking. There's the next closest BISI. Again, volume imbalance below with that low. So we got stacked, 3 stacked. I can show you, I'll put 3 of them in there. Went too far. There's one right there, and there's one right here. Ready? Want to see them? There they are. 3 stacked BISIs right in a row. This is the one I was referring to. Here's the first presentation fair value gap of the macro. And all kinds of other PD arrays right here. You're going to tap right here for IOFED, or are you just going to run? The more it runs, the more bullish it is. Inverted the PM first presentation fair value gap, which is tiny. So here's where you can adjust that. If you don't want to use a tiny fair value gap like this, because technically this is the first one, first presentation fair value gap of the PM session, opening range is right there, hence it's drawn in there. If you want to use a little bit bigger one, the second one is right there. Both are valid. Once that closed above, you can use that for a trigger potentially, or this one as well. This one was inverted, but this is the first presentation. This is the most recent SIBI that was been inverted when it hit this propulsion block, order block. Came back in and almost filled that one in perfectly, delivering higher highs. AM opening range high. Come back down, rebalance, punish the price chasers. But yeah, that's a nice way to use that inversion. Since we had that low resistance right there, that was a beautiful target. And it came through, it delivered. So now price is up here. Now it's high resistance. And it's high resistance on a 1 minute as well. But higher time frames trump lower time frames in all PD arrays. So now we're generating some liquidity here. Get in line for the PM session to start in a minute and a half. That was a fun macro run. You can see it live. Busy. Inverting as price delivers. Wicks do the damage, bodies tell the story. So that busy held. Came back and filled that in. We've tapped into this one. This could be a breakaway gap or a measuring gap. Grab some more liquidity. Could be a run higher, and we have a new hour starting in 45 seconds. Nice little SIBI right here. It's a prime target. Way to swing high with a SIBI above. I'll draw it in to show you. Including the volume imbalance. There's a volume imbalance right there. Sweet, sweet target right above the macro high. Oh. And there is no other fair value gaps in this price leg down. So if it respects that, consequent encroachment. All right, we got the new, so now we've set. Look at that, it waited till the last minute to set the PM range as well, just like it did the opening range in the AM. Interesting, very interesting. It's kind of like inverted though. Beautiful lunch macro delivery higher into that low resistance. Thank you very much. Now coming back down to refill the inefficiencies after we took that liquidity. So it engaged buy side liquidity, coming back down to deliver sell side. Overlapping fair value gaps right there. Inversion fair value gap. Another price delivered below it. Now it's reclaimed. It's blue because price traded back above it. But where does it close? 15 more seconds. Closed above, so it is. Now it's a reclaimed BISI, buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency. Look at that, one tick above, consequent encroachment of that. I should make this red. All right, I'll just, oh, get out of here. Because that is technically a SIBI, so it should be red. Come down, retrace. I say retrace because the previous hour was bullish. That low get below 923.75, 923.25. So yep, this did not support price, so price could absolutely go lower now because it breached this candle in my version of price reading. Would not surprise me to see it come lower. Doesn't have to go higher anymore. This could consolidate in this macro. Probabilities are much lower right now. Now it's inversion. Orange again because we closed below it. My expectation, not thinking, but I would be thinking that we're going to come lower. Come in and refill this inefficiency. %of that wick. Higher high. See, now we just reversed. So we're reversing the 15 minutes, so consolidation. Not clean price action. Broke that by let's see if, I don't care if the MNQ is different. You have to follow these fractal deliveries. That's more of a sign for bullish now because we just reversed on the 15 minute. Now it's more apt to come down, touch, run up for this high. It's a new 4-hour candle as well, so could be making the top wick if it's going to be a bearish 4-hour, but we're not predicting anything because this is the afternoon of the day before FOMC, so I'm probably going to stop recording this after the macro. Let's see how this macro delivers, and then I'll probably call it. A couple minutes left, 5 more minutes. Delivering higher, take out that high. Bam. Now it's going to invert that. If it inverts that, we might be up. We might have a new high of the day if it inverts that and continues. Let's see. Closed above the consequent encroachment. Will there be an immediate rebalance? Touch right here and then turn around? Or will it continue lower? Let's see. Inducing longs. Punish them. Second half of the macro. Again, there was the PM session opening range high. We just swept that liquidity. And filled in the rest of that. So price has been delivered efficiently now for that. I don't think, I looked before, right? There's no other, unless there's a sub 1 minute displacement, but I don't think so. Tiny volume imbalance, but not a fair value gap, or else the tool would have drew it in. So this is the most recent one, 2, 3. There's the most recent SIBI still down here. It's low resistance from a 1 minute standpoint. Low resistance down here as well. But after sweeping, price more typically tends to come back down to refill these inefficiencies. We've already reversed once, might reverse again. Minute and a half left in the macro. All right, final minute coming up. That was a boring minute. That's the hard part too about trading, is they wear you out. They wear you out and wear you down. Whew. Time to go stretch and walk. Go touch some grass. I'm happy I'm green on the day. Now it's going to just require patience to not trade tomorrow and wait for FOMC, which is typically a 2-stage delivery, if you don't know yet. When he starts talking, and then, or when the release goes out and then he starts talking half an hour after that. There's the end of the macro. That was a fun front half of the macro, that's for sure. But now we're just kind of chilling. So we'll close up shop for today. That macro low, these are nice looking. Now that we've redelivered to that SIBI. Oops. All right, well, I appreciate anyone hanging out that checked it out after the fact. Moral of the story for today is don't trade lunch. Unless you got the, well, you know, I can say it. I read it right. I just need, moral of the story is just have patience. And it worked out. As always, remember, tomorrow's promised for none of us. Take care, guys and girls. See ya.